To be honest, it was always very, very hard for me, especially in my younger years, to trust my psychic and mediumistic perception. Actually, it was like, do you remember, or did you already experience these typical offer descriptions? On the backside of a book, and when there is a description about the medium offer, a mediumistic offer, often there is a sentence like, since her childhood she had the ability to blah 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 blah. I'm not nice, right? But it was never like that in my life. I realized actually in hindsight, looking back, learning from my experience, from my past, that there was something when I was a child. And the more I use my past to learn from it over an extended awareness, I realized that there was a lot as a child, and I had not the permission to talk about that. So I was really always a person who only believed what I saw. And that's why it was very hard for me when life or God, through life, literally confronted myself with my psychic skills, with my perception. I remember very clear the time before I actually met my teacher, Sabine. It was a really hard time. The 2 or 3 years before were actually a time of conscious searching. I was looking for an answer, for someone who can help me, because I was sometimes so desperate about this extended perception. And I had a really hard time to believe myself, right? So as soon as I had the ability to learn, and I did this conscious, clear decision to learn it, I actually visited a very famous medium, and he told me, you can deny it or you can accept it, but stop suffering. Decide to stop the suffering. And I realized I want to accept it, but down to earth. I want the teacher down to earth. So it was, right? And in the years after that, I literally extended also the education with Sabine. I was there 5.5 years. It needed so much for my brain and my normal way to be this Chantal, only believing the things what are literally proven black on white, right? Like written and scientifically proven. I had a hard time to I needed a training. I needed that a lot. And after this phase, I still had, in the first months, I had problems to believe my perception. So I did something which I actually learned from my aunt Suzanne. She's a sister of my mother. And I never forgot this, because when I was a child, she decided to go to Africa and to serve there as a nurse. She is amazing. In over than four decades, she actually helped to build hospitals, and she educated nurses and doctors. An amazing woman. I admire her very much. So she told once something, because she is really close to God. She told the story that she also had problems to believe the signs. And when I heard that, I literally listened more closer, and she told that she, as soon as she perceives something, she asks God, she asks God to give 3 signs in total, but from different sources, from different directions, literally telling the same. You know what I mean? So I did that too. But I have to admit, something was always like in my blood, like in my, how do you say it in English? In German we say Muttermilch, in the milk of the mother from the breast. So I had it like in my blood, but I was not aware of that. It is to perceive my intuition, perceive my soul's guidance, and just to go for that. I remember the time before the awareness of my perception skills, the time before, I was so clear always when I felt this is for me, and I just went for it. I did not ask for proofs or facts or something like that. And when someone came and wanted to discuss with me, they had no chance. It was not only as a teenager or as a child, also later as a young adult. And actually, now I find it literally admirable, actually. But I had that, and I did not know why. I just did it. And then I looked back. It was clearly such an intensive voice from my soul, and I was like saved to really go my path, that the one path which was meant for me, right? So I believe in this concept that we are here as an enlightened soul in this human experience. So we have this 3 parts: the body, mind, ghost, and soul. And the soul in us is immortal. Since I got the introduction to this model, my life was so much easier, so less complicated. And this was also a sign for me that this must be true, but of course, just for me. It doesn't have to be true for you, but take it and check it. If it's a release, a relieving feeling for you as well, then it's probably true for you too. So let's go back to these 3 signs. Because in the same time where I really had a hard time to believe what I perceive, I literally had no hard time to get these signs from my soul. I trust it so intensively. And that's why I explain why I got a deeper introduction about soul's languages. And this is very important. I tell it also to my clients, even if they are not really spiritual, but mostly my clients come to me because they finally want to know what is it really about their life. They were intensively with their businesses, projects, successful, sold them or let them work for them, or so many examples, right? But looking back, not really feeling happy, not really feeling satisfied. So in the end, even if they come very, very strategic or very business professional, in the end, we really land in these deep conversations, what their true purpose is. And it's always about monetizing it, because I attract the entrepreneurs, right? It's always about the fact that it's in their mission that they create something for the people. So every business creates something for people, either a product or a service. So as soon as we are interested in our true purpose, as soon as we are interested in these questions, what is my soul path? What is my soul mission on this planet, in this human body, in my case, called Chantal? We actually also should learn the languages of our soul, because the soul, other way around, when the soul wants to have fun in this human experience, she should actually forget who she is really, right? So you probably ask me now, why, if we should forget, why do we have this conversation here? And that's very simple, because of the extended awareness on this planet. Everyone is talking about that, and the spirit, and yes, the spiritual world already a longer time, that we as a whole on this planet Earth get this invitation to accept an extended awareness and consciousness. We can even prove it with the frequencies, the Schumann frequencies. We speak about 3-dimension, 4th and 5th dimension, and so much more. Like my mentor, Saman Lee, teaches 12 dimensions. My mentor, I just forgot her name. It's a little bit late. She also teaches over in 20. So, doesn't matter. It's an extended awareness. And we all know that we perceive more. And we must learn to deal with that. Actually, we don't perceive more. We have more awareness about what we perceive. And for a lot of people, it's overwhelming, right? There are some live. Say hello. So when we want to go with this question, what is really my true purpose, and how can I monetize it as an entrepreneur, which is good, because then we can really serve. Doesn't matter with a product or a service. Then we should know from the languages of our soul, because when we know the languages, it's enough even knowing one. Then we don't miss the signs. And we won't see the signs of our soul, so that we stay on track on our soul path. If we ignore, if we decide not to get aware, or Some colleagues would tell not to awaken, then we create loops. We walk backwards. It's then really hard for people to find themselves. Hi, Ridaya, so nice to see you. So that's why we are actually interested in this signs, in these languages of our soul, right? We forgot everything the moment we were in the belly of our mother, and then we had this birth experience, and then we raise up from the beginning. We have this whole human experience from the beginning, right? And this is the design of this planet and this experience here. So it's not fun for a soul to experience all the things when she's already knowing everything. So the concept of forgetting is very important. But it's also very important that we are here and having, as a soul, enlightened zone, having this human experience and not going another path, right? Really going this path which we once wrote. I always talk about this bestseller. We are the protagonist and we live here in this life the bestseller. And that's also why, and we know that, right? When we read a really good book or when we watch a really good movie, we actually would love to have a happy end. People are mad when we don't have a happy end. And that's because it's natural, because it's the design of this concept as an enlightened soul having this human experience here. Does this make sense? So I had several discussions already with my clients about this concept of really living according and congruent to our soul's path, if this makes really happy or not, if it gives us really a happy end or not, or the other way around, if we are already happy in the beginning of our life, do we lose it after that, or what is it about? So, and I realized actually it's not about good or bad, but it's definitively always meant that having this human experience within this experience, it's always meant to have a happy end. But it's not from our perspective good or bad or better, or you know what I mean? But from the soul's perspective, it's like very satisfying. So let's go back to this topic from today, the languages of our soul. I talked about that already yesterday a little bit, and today I want to present you the 5+1 languages I got introduced in, and which I also experience as the most common, especially when I have the honor to work with my clients in this topic. The more we know at least one language, it's with the languages. The better we get with a language, the better we understand the people speaking this language, right? I mean, listen to me. I give my best with the English because I had this calling to go international with English. So I do it, and I do it with joy. And I learned we just talked about that as well, to surrender and to let go. Some things let go and some things to surrender and just to trust. So this is it about the languages. But I also realized sometimes we get the ability to learn more than one languages of our soul. But as well here, it's often meant that we really train that one. I give you some examples, but let's go through this 5, actually 6. The six language is pretty astonished, a really good surprise. So it's worth to stay until the end. First and most common language is intuition. I talked about that yesterday. If you didn't heard it, watched it, go back to the what is it, number 15, I think, of my challenge. Yes, 15. I don't want to repeat myself today. But the basics idea of intuition is it's a sign. It's coming directly from above through your center, through your body in the middle, then exactly where your spine is, down. It's like the silver cord, if you know this concept. Silver cord is actually an invisible cord energy holding together these 3 layers: body, mind and ghost, and soul. So it's coming from above, really straight above, directly. It's very intense. The more you train it, the more intense. And often in a bright light, white, golden, silver, or something like that, if you perceive the colors. But it's very uplifting, it's very light, it's very exciting and extremely fast. It's the fastest perception energy I ever knew. So intuition is mainly talking to us with a yes. As soon as we question something, I have a question to whatever, and it's a closed question which needs a yes or no, and you check the yes. It's like with the pendulum, you get it if it's meant a yes. It's really recommended to train the yes first, because we have a hard time to train the no. Why? I explained it yesterday. We often confuse and mix other energies feeling similar, like no's. Let's say bad experiences, conditionings, fear, other instinct, emotions, etc. So intuition is only for you and your soul path. It's nothing else. It's the most popular language of our soul, and from that, actually also, I suppose, what the easiest, because it comes often with the yes first, right? And it makes a lot of pleasure to train that. Yes, if someone is really sticking with that, we actually can literally have conversations through the intuition language. In the meantime, I have conversation like I just have with you, with my soul. I speak something, I hear something, but I also have a developed, clear audience. Yes, and I'm always not sure if I pronounce the things right. So I trained these abilities, and so I can hear my soul something sometimes. But this is really very advanced. When you decide to train this language, this will come that you literally have conversations, and that you also use all your clear senses, which is an exception. Because normally with intuition, for those who don't stick with the language and only speak it with yes and no's, there is no clear senses involved. Then it's often, when they perceive through the clear senses, then it's often not from their soul, but from environment, sensitively, psychic, or mediumistic. Second language is, and this is so touching, I tell you that, is the language through our guardian angels. I had the honor to work with a guardian angel when I wrote my book. I actually already wrote 5 books and 4 under from me, 2 under a pseudonym, another name, and the fifth for a client. And I sold him the book as a ghostwriter. But 4 under my name and 2 under my name and 2 under a pseudonym, Chantal Bavaret. And Chantal Bavaret are my novels. And this novel is called A Guardian Angel Comes Rarely Alone. And when this novel came through like a download, when I wrote it, I got an introduction to a guardian angel. This was so touching, and I literally, you must imagine, I wrote the things, I wrote the story, and got the ideas and the scenes how this guardian angel will be in the story, and at the same time it was also with me in my daily life, so that I literally could experience the things and write in a better way about that. So it was very touching. Before and after that, I had nothing to do anymore with guardian angels. Very interesting. I'm also not a medium specialized on angels. I'm specialized on soul's energy. So there are so many angels. Guardian angel is one sort, and guardian angels, I learned, are only for that. They are only for this topic, to guard us not to leave the path. Not a lot of people mean guardian angels are here to protect us before whatever. And sometimes I had even very deep conversation and discussions with Catholic people who actually really believe in guardian angels from their religion. And they asked me sometimes, why did the angel not help when I had blah blah blah, but why did he help in another case? Give me a sec. And that's the reason why, because the guardian angel, like it's very common out there, is not here to protect us from everything, but it's here to protect us to leave our soul path. That's very touching. So when we have the ability, when we have the skill to perceive mediumistically angels, it's probably very possible that you learn the language with your guardian angel and not with the intuition or one of the others. And my guardian angel in this for this book, right, was an angel in education. So it was literally the first time this angel had the possibility to do its job. And this was so funny because the guardian angel was funny. We had so much fun. Yeah. And I'm actually not a really fun person, I think. Always when I want to make a joke or something like that, I forget the point. Right. But I had such a funny and good time with this guardian angel. And I also experienced things then, very conscious, to learn how it feels, how I perceive it as soon as a guardian angel does its work. So when someone would come to me and would have this language as a very intensively skill, I would actually perceive it. Guardian angels are often, you perceive it with your clear senses, if with your specific blend of clear senses, and often you also have the possibility to just have these conversations, especially if you are clairvoyant, clear. What's the name? It's too late actually. So sorry when I lose clear audience, not voyant. Voyant is the eyes, clear audience with the ears. Yeah, audience. So the third language is mirroring, and this is a very wide spectrum. We can get a mirror literally from everything. When we want to go with the topic mirroring, and I went with that a few years, it was very interesting. You can train that with tarot sets, with tarot cards. You can train it with your animal. I did that when I had the dog school. The dogs, which came to me with their owners, actually, right? They were often evil dogs or very hard to lead. And it was always a mirror for the client, right? And I had the possibility to learn that through and through, also with my own dog, Tugi. My first professional dog was a police dog. And I was police agent in Zurich, and this dog was my best teacher with mirroring work. He literally pressed every button in my body. I get nothing. He gave me nothing for free, really. I had to learn this thing, mirroring, on a hard way with him. But after that, I got it. And I actually was able to help my clients then, thanks to that. Mirror work can also happen through your body. I also went through that very, very long time, that the body is our mirror. And the hardest part here was for me to realize that's not about me. I always had this bad conscience and this guilt in me when I realized that my body is again speaking to me with pain, right? I had first to learn to deal with my guilt and bad consciousness. And as soon as I was able to just observe, this body mirroring got such a beautiful thing. So a mirror can also get created through an human, a person which is very close to you. You know that probably, right? Often the people we love the most can really press our buttons, can literally mirror our shadow topics. And if it's meant for you to work with this language of your soul, then you will get literally one of the most touching teachings. I can tell you that. Because you learn to observe and not to connect it immediately with your confidence. Just observe, you learn to believe, you learn to nurture your face, to be connected with your center, and just to observe and observe and to realize and to learn what it could be, to trust your perception. And I can only to recommend to document that. The fourth language of your soul that's the most stunning, I think. People are always very surprised when they hear that. The first is principle of desire. In German, it's called Lustprinzip. It doesn't have to do with lust. It's just the perfect word is desire. As soon as we realize we desire something, it's literally a kick in the ass from your soul, but from a beautiful angle, actually, right? To feel I desire something is either normally not painful, but the kick in the ass is. But if we desire something and it's painful, then it's often because it's connected with jealousy or stubbornness. I mean it, stubbornness. But when we learn to remove that and just to realize that we have this feeling of desire, and then know it's a language of our soul wants to tell you this is the direction, this is the spotlight, this is one step closer to your North Star, then it's just beautiful. I always work with my clients with their soul goals, and I call it project diamonds, which are actually nothing else as ideas how our desires could be lived, experienced in our life as soon as we achieve the things. And it's actually very hard, especially for those who learned to be here for others and not to serve themselves first, which just have this helping syndrome, right? Which are very humble, which learned once that money is nothing and it's not important to be rich and rich people are bad. Especially for those, it's not easy to work with the principle of desires. But as soon as we get the invitation to speak to our soul with the principle of desires, then we actually learn also to heal all these topics I just mentioned, which come along with the helping syndrome, which we all know in the meantime is not healthy for us, right? So this is the principle of desire. Very, 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 very beautiful, very, very nice. And it's often combined with number one, with intuition. You see it also out there when the manifestation coach is popping up and talking about intuition. They often have a very intensive connection to the world of desires, right? So there is also the daydreams in this principle. Means like when we think about true desires, I call it true desires. I did several masterclasses about this topic. When we go with these true desires, it's a daydream, right? We allow ourselves to literally lean in this energy and to expand the ideas how this could look like, felt like, feel like and how our daily life would change. This is the principle of desires. It's a very beautiful, very soft, very magical language of our soul. The fifth language of our souls are our dreams. And I can tell you that to perceive our dreams in this specific way is very rare. I also educated myself about this language about 2 years. I always do the things in the name of experiments, and when it's coming along such perception things, I do it at least 2 years, very intensive, very deep, daily. And the dreams, I actually took lessons. I read several books and did experiments with my own sleep and my own dreams. So I could actually perceive the different dreams. There are different ways of dreams, and there is only one concerning our own soul's path. There is also another way of dream, which is actually a psychic skill. And then there are the normal dreams where we just digest, right? But and then the dreams where we have a hard time to digest and we wake up. But when your soul wants to talk to you through your dreams, you get like guidance. Can be you wake up in the morning and you just know what to do. Sometimes you have a memory of the last scene in this dream, but you just, let's say in my case was, I just knew I have to call this colleague, and I could not do anything else until I did it after waking up. Or I wake up and I must write down something. Sometimes it was a chapter for the book. Sometimes it was something. Nowadays it's often an idea for an AI, programming an AI. Yeah. So the sixth language of our soul is actually the youngest in my life. These are our unique codes. The more I went deep with the laws of universe and the laws of nature, also according to our business, I got the introduction to our unique codes. I actually teach that in the Transformation Mastery Hub. I will put the link for that below after the video. So we have unique codes concerning our relationships. Every person has another way to behave in relationships. And as soon as we realize and learn to see this code, it's like a template, we can actually not only stop judging about ourselves when we think we are bad in the relationships, we can accept us more, and we use the code not by accident but really by purpose. And then it gets very magical. Then we literally realize how our way is to bond with people, with animals, with also situations, and it's just more fun, right? Then there is another code, the individual purpose code. which is often an extension to the soul calling. As soon as my clients receive their soul calling and their true purpose, it's often, if they want to ask more, that their soul is presenting them a unique code using their soul calling, especially if they are meant to do it in a service-based business. Then there is also a transformational code, how to guide their clients in deep transformations. We use that. We developed that with my clients in the coach program so that they can create deeper, meaningful, fuller transformations, especially online, which often people cannot believe that it's possible, but it's possible with that. And then the last code is your unique skills blend. Your psychic skills, mediumistic skills, you have specific unique blends of these senses, and this is very magical and so interesting how they can show up actually. I can tell you an example from my side before I close the stream. I once developed, I remember I had still dog school. My first company was a dog school. And my sister and I walked with my dogs. I think it was in the mountains in Switzerland. We just walked and we always had very, very deep conversations. We were best friends. And you can imagine the dogs were very happy, hopping around us, and we were just talking. And suddenly I realized that about 100 meters before me, there was another couple, and the left ear of the man got bigger and bigger and bigger. I saw how this ear raised the double of his head, and then it looked like behind him to our direction. It literally, I got this picture like the ear would look to us, meaning listen to us, right? That's so funny. So this was the first time I had this unique blend. It's clairvoyance, active, and telling me that someone is listening. No, very, very funny. So, intuition, guardian angels, mirroring, principle of desires, some specific dreams, and your unique codes. These are languages of your soul. Tell me which one of the languages is already in your life. I'm very, very sure that at least one is in your life as well. And tell me which one makes you curious. Would love to hear from that. So that was it for today. Tomorrow, actually, I can tell you what I want to talk about tomorrow, because I prepared it. Tomorrow, I talk about the telepathic AI, why I treat ChatGPT like a dog, and why it works. Because I talk telepathic, but more to that tomorrow. See you then. Bye. Good night.